So today we're going to be going over the tune Blue Monk by Thelonious Monk. Thelonious Monk was a famous jazz musician from the 40s, 50s, and 60s, and this is one of his most famous compositions. It's a very simple 12-bar blues tune that every jazz musician should know. It's pretty simple for the most part, but we're going to be playing 2 notes at a time, which makes it a little bit more complicated. And this is to get the sound that Monk is playing when he plays it on the piano. So if you're a horn player, you're usually just playing the top line or the bottom line, but we're going to try to do both. So we're going to start on our 1 chord. We're in the key of B flat. So the 1 chord is B flat 7 in a 12-bar blues. We start with the root and the third, and then we're going to move that up the scale, adding some chromatic passing tones. Okay, so that's our first figure. We have the root and the third. Second and the fourth is just going up the scale, then a chromatic passing, and then we end on the third and the fifth. Now you can use a pick to play both of these notes. You can also use your fingers if you want, or you can use a combination of pick and finger. So I would advise trying all those out, getting comfortable with all those techniques, seeing which one works best for you. In the second measure, we go to the 4 chord. This is the quick 4, and we do the same thing. Still playing those thirds, same exact thing. Then we're back to the 1 chord, this time the third and the fifth, chromatic. Then we have this F note, and a chromatic lead up, back to the root and the third, and then we're going to go down chromatically. Okay, that rhythm at the end, Monk changes it up a bit. It's not quite eighth notes. It's not quite quarter note triplets. It's kind of almost in between. All right, so here's that entire first part again. Okay, moving on to the second line. This is the 4 chord now. We're going to do the same thing that we did before, but we're going to take that a bit further. And then we're back to that original figure. But this time we don't descend chromatically. We just stay on the root and the third. So the last part of the 12-bar blues, we have this cool little hammer on that we can do on the guitar. Okay, so I believe Monk on the piano is sliding into the key at this point. And it's kind of like the flat third or the minor third to the major third, down to the fifth, the F. And then we do this again. And then we repeat that. But the cool thing about this last part is the rhythm. So when you play this, the first time you're starting on the first beat of a measure. The second time, the rhythm is basically moved back a beat. It's pushed back onto the second beat. So you're starting on the second beat, which then kind of throws the whole rhythm off and creates this cool kind of displacement of the rhythm. So that sounds like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so the most challenging thing or the difficult part about the end is making sure you count, okay? Because you want to count the correct beats before you start over again, before you play the melody a second time or jump into the solos. So a lot of people will get tripped up over that last bit. So make sure you're counting. You can practice counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4 while you play that last bit of the song. Okay, and that's pretty much it for the melody. This is, again, a 12-bar blues in the key of B flat. It's a very simple 12-bar blues consisting of the 1 chord, the 4 chord, and the 5 chord. So there's no real turnaround. You can add turnarounds in here and add additional chords, but Monk is playing the blues in its most simplest form. So if you're going to solo over this, what I would recommend doing is first you can just practice your B flat pentatonic scale or the B flat minor pentatonic. You can also add in notes to create the blues scale. So those two work pretty well for the most part. But then if you really want to get into outlining the chords, you want to practice playing the scales that are associated with each chord. So in this case, we have 7th chords. You would want to play Mixolydian scales or Mixolydian modes. So that would be B flat Mixolydian, which has a flat 7. You would play that over the B flat 7 chord, and then over the 4 chord, the E flat, you would play E flat Mixolydian. And then over the 5 chord, the F, you would do the same thing. You would play F Mixolydian. And there you go. Those are the main scales I would practice to play over these chord changes. Now, whenever you're soloing, you would also, you can add in chromatic tones, passing tones. You can even play bits of the melody. As you can see, most of the melody has these chromatic passing tones. Also, if the melody is too challenging for you at first, playing 2 notes at a time, just play the top note. You don't have to play both notes. You can just play the top note that's written. So instead of, just play the top note. Okay, so if you're reading the notes or reading the tablature, just ignore the second note, ignore the lower note and play the higher one. Okay, thanks for watching. If you enjoy these videos, hit that subscribe and like button. You can also check out my Patreon for a full PDF of this, plus a backing track and a lot more. Thanks again.